Hello, welcome back to IT Security Labs, and today I'm very excited to tell you that I passed the CISSP. This is a piece of paper that they give you at the end of the exam to let you know whether you passed or you failed. And as you can see, I passed. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I studied for the CISSP and also give you a few pointers that might or might not help you in your journey to getting CISSP certified. If you are someone who is interested in the CISSP, I think there's some information that you might find very helpful in this video. So make sure you stay until the end, because I do actually go in detail and explain to you things that actually worked for me that I think will help you. I have about 8 years of IT experience. I started at help desk. I became a sysadmin where I did mostly server administration. And recently, I've been working mostly on networking. As most people out there who work in small to medium businesses, we don't have a dedicated IT security team. Security has always been part of my job since the beginning. I've always worked in small environments where I also worried a lot about security. Every system that I configured, I made sure that I had it enough, or at least looked at it before deploying it, make sure that it's safe. So that's why I decided to take the CISSP, because it just validates that knowledge that I also have from the experience. And in addition to that, I also wanted to know the best practice. How best can I actually secure these systems for my employers, which is why the CISSP is very important for my career. So how did I pass the CISSP? A few weeks ago, I was on the subreddit r/CISSP. Make sure to check it out. I'll have a link to it. And I was thinking I need to take the CISSP, but I didn't know where to start. I didn't know if I even qualified for the CISSP. And the subreddit for CISSP helped me a lot. Someone came up with a 16-week plan. I'll have his name somewhere up here. Here's a Reddit name. Great guy, and it's a great program. There's a 16-week plan. I asked myself if I can do it in 16 weeks, and I thought it can be done. So I followed that plan and studied for the CISSP. So that was the first plan. Then through Spiceworks, which is another online community that I hang out in, I posted in Spiceworks and said, hey, I'm thinking of taking the CISSP. What do you guys suggest? Because that's what you do if you are someone who interacts with people. And a lot of people had a lot of input, but there's a user called Nelly, and he said, hey, check out this mentorship program, which is another resource that I used. Is by FSecure. FSecure is a cyber security company based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, actually Minnetonka. And Evan Franzen, who is the owner and founder of FSecure, it leads the program with Brad Nye. These guys are wonderful. They are seasoned professionals, and Evan publishes a lot of material out there. They even have a podcast that you can listen to, which I also link down there. They decided to have an 8-week program every single year where they train people for free. Out of the goodness of their heart, they just train you to get certified for the CISSP. So through the CISSP mentorship program from FSecure, we went through an 8-week program, Monday to Friday, 1-hour-long sessions, webinars online, with a lot of people in the class from all over the world who attended. You could ask questions, and we also learned a lot, mostly because, at least for me, they gave real-life experience examples and how they apply to the CISSP. I knew that I was learning a cert that's just not a certification where the company is trying to make money, but it's actually applicable to your work. So check out the FSecure website. All the sessions that we had are also recorded and posted on FSecure's YouTube channel. So you can watch all the sessions that I went through. I will have a link to all of them in the description, so you can check those ones out. In addition to that, I read the official study guide. This is the book that I think was my reference for everything. I read this cover to cover. Like I said earlier, reading is not my strongest suit, but I tried, so I did actually read the whole thing. In addition to that, I used the companion study guide, which is also amazing. People on other forums were talking about the Sean Harris book, so I had to get it. I mean, why not? So I studied that. It was a PDF version of the book. And to be honest with you, I actually think that you don't need to read a lot of books. Again, it depends on how you read and how you understand things. But I didn't have to read a lot of books. So those were the materials that I used. And that brings me, I'm almost to the end. So that brings us to the tips and tricks that you might want to consider. I'll start with when you're studying. When you're studying, make sure you emphasize on points that you're weak at. I downloaded the CISSP exam objectives on all domains and what they expect me to know. I highlighted with 3 markers: black, yellow, and green. Everything that I knew that I thought if they bring me any question on, at least I felt comfortable, I marked it in black. Everything that I thought I kind of knew, or at least had an idea, I covered that one in yellow. Then the rest that I had no idea, I covered it in green. There was no color coordination there. I'm colorblind, so it didn't matter, but I just knew my scheme. After that, I made sure that I emphasized on the domains that I was weak at. I knew that cryptography was something that I had not spent so much time in learning, so I spent a lot of time learning about cryptography. I knew that business continuity, even though I knew what it was, I had no idea actually what kind of standards were being followed, so I emphasized on that. But since I am also CCNP certified, networking section of that, I didn't spend too much time on that. There is a lot of material that you can learn, but at least focus on places that you're weak. Like I said, the exam is adaptive and it tests you on all 8 domains. It doesn't matter if you know 7 and you don't know the one, you will still fail. So that's why distributing your time to things that actually matter to you, that you are weak at, is very important. After that, my second tip is, you are studying, make sure that you join these online communities. Become part of these communities. Join the subreddit rCISSP. Join Luke Ahmed's group, the CISSP study group, and notes on Facebook. Be part of these communities. Engage with people. Ask questions. I think that's the most important thing. Join Spiceworks if you haven't joined. There's a lot of wonderful people out there who are more than willing to answer any questions that you might have. Don't do it on your own, otherwise it will just overwhelm you. Sometimes when I felt overwhelmed, I just went and started reading other people's experiences. So make sure you join these communities. It's very helpful. Which brings us to my next point. When you are studying, unlike me, this is a mistake that I made. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I studied way too much, I think, based on what I found out. It's okay to not fully remember everything. It's okay if you don't remember the types of fires or the, sprinkler systems, all this detailed material. Just focus on what matters the most, and you will know from practicing questions which areas you probably should focus on the most. This is the most important point that I want to make if you are going to take anything out of this video. Spend about 70% of your time studying the material and fully understand it. The other 30%, or sometimes if you want 50% of the time, distribute it however you want, practice a lot of questions. The reason why I say this is because, like I said earlier, you need to understand all domains. When you practice and practice and practice, you will realize that quickly you are very weak in certain areas and you are very strong in certain areas, and that will allow you to point and focus most of your time on certain areas. So for me, I spent more of my time understanding cryptography, like I said. Practice a lot of questions. So where do you get the practice questions? I used the boson questions. I used this book that I showed you here. I use FSecure, I think, and some random online questions. Don't go crazy with these questions, because sometimes people think the questions that you see are going to be the same questions in the exam, and I'm here to tell you no, it will not even be close to that. The questions are for you to identify your weak points, know the material. Don't expect to go in the exam and see any of those questions word by word, because the exam is structured in a way that actually tests your material, your understanding of the material, not because you memorize even the questions, and you actually won't find them anyway. I will tell you that the format that they use in this book, the format that they use in the Boston or other practice questions that you see out there is way different from the exam. That's why if you're getting 70 or 80% in these books, don't get too excited and think that you still pass. You have to be very careful with the exam, which is another point that I think is very important. When you go to the exam, make sure that you read the questions several times, maybe a couple times. There are going to be freebies that might be one sentence, but there are going to be some that require you to think like a risk advisor. Make sure you read the questions, understand the keywords. I'm not a native English speaker, so I had to write keywords. If they said what is the best, I wrote best. I scrabbled. Then any keyword that was in there, I made sure to write it down. Then I knew exactly where the question was going, because sometimes the answers were just too close where I couldn't decide, and having those keywords helped me a lot. That's something that I wish I had known before the exam, so you actually can study very well. Which brings us to the other tip that I have. When you go to the exam, you're going to feel like you're failing. People on subreddit, the CISSP subreddit, would say you're going to feel like you're failing, and that's okay. I thought I knew that. Even during the exam, there were questions where I was like, yep, that's the answer, that's the answer. Then there were questions where I felt like I had no idea which answer it was. And then there were questions where I felt like I knew the answer, but there was another answer that was almost as good. So having those fundamentals is very important. Then you can reason and actually make the best decisions in the exam. Write down the keywords, use the knowledge and use your experience, if you have any, to actually answer these questions. And don't give up. Don't feel like you're failing. When I walked to the front to take my results, I expected a 50-50 chance that I was going to see that we're sorry you failed and here is where you were weak. I don't think I went through a roller coaster of emotions. I would answer a few questions and felt like I was doing great. I was so happy. I was like, wow, I can't believe I was worried. Then the next time I feel like, wow, I'm really going to fail this thing. And I think it's because the exam is adaptive. It adapts to your understanding of the material. Then it gives you questions based on your previous answers. So not everybody takes the same exam, if you haven't heard that. Which is very good, because then I felt like I was being challenged. I felt like they were really trying to get to what I understood instead of what I had memorized. So the other tip is memorization won't take you far. Understanding the material is going to help you. Which is why when you're studying and practicing the questions, don't focus on getting 100% of the answers correct. Your main focus is to focus on understanding why the answer is what it is. I think if you know why the others are not the answer, but this is the best answer, you will be very good in the exam. I went through about 6,000 questions. I used every practice material that I could find, the book, the Boston, FSecure. I just did it all. I think you'll be better off at least spend time practicing 3,000 to 5,000 different questions. I know people think that's a lot of questions, but by the time you are around the 3,000 question range, you begin to see a pattern. Everything will start coming together. The more you get asked about risk assessment and business continuity plan, the more questions you answer about that, the more you're actually going to have a clear picture of what it is, even though you might have missed it from the book. So make sure you practice at least 3,000 to 5,000 questions. And my last tip before we end this long video is make sure that on the exam day you relax. I was a mess. I panicked a lot and I wish I could have calmed down more. Relax. The exam is not really meant to fail you. It's just there to test you. You might not feel fully prepared, that's okay. But as long as you go in there with the fundamentals and you feel fully prepared and you did everything you could, I think you'll do fine. I read the Sunflower book right on the day of the exam. I had the exam at 11 a.m. and I read that book early in the morning for the third time just to hammer the ideas. Some people say relax and just go there and know that it's fine. I couldn't relax and I did that. So know yourself. I think this exam is wonderful. I have so much respect for those people who have passed the CISSP. This is one of the most respected tests out there and you will do great. Sometimes people fail, which is also okay, but at the end of the day, it's a wonderful exam and I'm really grateful that I did. Next, I just have to make sure that I go through the endorsement process and get everything done. Otherwise, I wish you luck. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting more of my labs now that the CISSP is out of the way. I'm just going back to the reason why this channel exists, which is creating labs for IT security. So without wasting time, I'll see you later.